Joining me on the podcast right now from Ohio Mutual Insurance, Todd Boyer. Hello, Todd.
Alrighty, good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's always good to talk to you when you come in.
Thank you. Likewise.
So, what is happening? I mean, insurance. I see the bills are kind of, people are looking at their bills like, well, wow, it kind of went up, didn't it?
Well, I tell you what, it's kind of a perfect storm right now in terms of how it's impacting everybody. And it's not just Ohio Mutual customers. It's not just customers of any one particular insurer. It's across the industry. It's across the country. Some areas are being impacted more than others. And unfortunately, the weather in the Midwest has really been unprecedented. And that's impacted Ohio Mutual because that's really where most of our business is still concentrated. We operate in 8 states, and a number of those are in New England, but we do have Ohio and Indiana, which is the largest portion of where we're concentrated on our property, and that's what gets impacted by weather. So, if you have a car accident, that's, there's a limit to the amount of loss you can see on a car. But when you've got a farm or you have a house, multiple structures, those losses can add up real fast, and those are all weather related. And so we've seen just a really unfortunate trend over the last few years. One of the things we track in insurance is what we call catastrophes, and those are kind of labeled by reaching a certain threshold of damage over a certain amount of time, and those are declared catastrophes by a national organization. But when we see a catastrophe, we track those, and there's 2 numbers that we look at. We look at what's the large number, which is the amount of damage, and then how much are we paying as a company to reimburse and get our customers whole that we don't get reimbursed by our reinsurance. And unfortunately, as we've kind of looked at that list, the 5 most costly storms that we have dealt with as a company in the history of Ohio Mutual since 1901 have been in the last 2 years.
Wow, yeah.
So numbers 1 through 5 since the spring of 2002.
Wow.
So the way you deal with that as a company is you have to adjust your rates to reflect the costs that you're seeing, and most of that is weather related. Just the other day I saw a list of all the things that are going well, and the company is moving forward. We're expanding into new states, we're adding new products, we're all of these strategic things that we can control are going well. And then the other column is what's not going well. There's only one item in that: the weather.
The weather,
And we all know how well anybody does at controlling the weather.
Right, yes. Not very successful. Unless you hear conspiracy theorists, it'll tell you that's control.
Well,
but anyways, that's another story.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic, and probably a whole other guest.
Right, exactly. But yeah, it's just weird how we've had these bad storms and stuff the last couple of years. I mean,
it's there's some macro trends in the weather that you can look at, and you can kind of see that those what we're seeing now in terms of storm frequency and the nature of the weather. You can understand why it's happening from a macro trend, and there's some other factors as well. If you look at it nationally, there are more people living in areas that are susceptible to storm damage, like for instance coasts. A lot of people like to live on the coast. It's a great lifestyle, but coastal exposure is, you have a hurricane that runs through once in a while. You've got flooding. So we have more people living in areas that experience weather. And so that kind of compounds when you have more weather events and more people in the area where there's weather events. You're kind of getting a double whammy. Because people have houses, people have cars, people have property. And so that creates this really unprecedented increase in the amount of damage, just dollars wise. So there's just, there's no place to hide really for anybody right now. And so what happens is we're just trying to do our best to respond to that and be able to mitigate that damage. And that's showing up in higher bills for folks. It's showing up in maybe some tighter restrictions on the kinds of things that we will take on as an insurance customer. You may be asked to carry a larger percentage of the cost in terms of a deductible. Or if you have a roof that is over a certain age, you might not to be able to replace it at, with a new roof, but maybe get a depreciated settlement if the roof gets damaged. So all customers are dealing with that with all agencies and with all companies.
Sure. What else you got for us, Todd?
Well, the great thing is that all the other things that we can control are still going well. We're really focused right now on expanding into our 8th state in Wisconsin. We're getting ready to introduce our first product there later this summer. And we've got a very eager group of agents that are looking forward to representing Ohio Mutual into that state and then growing there in a controlled way. So it's one of the things that an insurance company can do when you're dealing with weather issues is expand your geographic footprint so that the bad weather that's happening in Ohio is probably not also happening in Wisconsin or in Maine.
Sure.
So if you spread out your geographic footprint, what happens is that you balance your risk a little bit better. So that's one of the things we can do strategically to respond to the weather issues that we're having and try not to have so much of our business concentrated in the Midwest, which unfortunately is right now in a bad weather pattern.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right. We just experienced it about a month or so ago, over a month ago,
Yeah, it was kind of crazy that, you see a tornado come right through downtown Bucyrus.
Right.
It's always one of those, you hear about it in other communities and you always know in the back of your head, well, it could happen.
Right.
But it's still a little, feels a little close to home when it comes right across your own neighborhood.
I just saw, still got a downtown, still have damaged traffic light up there. It reminded me of that day. So just saw that this morning out there. But
but you know what? The thing that was really great to see was that how fast the community responded and recovered from that.
Right.
There were, people moments after the storm passed out in the streets helping to move debris, helping to, direct people around down power lines and pulling in the same direction to try to help folks. And you could see insurance responding to people who had wind damage, getting a new roof on, getting damage repaired, getting repairs getting started. So, the system works. And, we, of course, insure a number of properties in the Bucyrus area. And, I was just driving around this morning and was kind of doing a mental checklist of, that was one of our properties. It looks like that one's been taken care of all right. And that one looks like it's okay. And, that's what we're here for.
Exactly. That's why you have insurance too, right? Exactly. For when things like that happen.
Yeah.
It is. Anything else you got for us, Todd? Or?
Nothing at the moment. So we're just trying to keep moving forward and trying to do our best to plan for how to respond to some of these weather changes and try to do it in the least disruptive way we can. But the company is healthy and growing. And we're just thrilled to still be part of this community.
For many years, right? You've been here.
Yes, we are. So we're now it's 123 years since we were folded, and we've been in town since 1909.
Yeah,
so
you got to be one of the oldest companies around this. I mean,
we are one of the older companies in the community, and we have a unique position in the community as a result of that, but we're very committed to Bucyrus and Crawford County, and we just enjoy being part of this community.
I know you guys do a lot for the community here. I know that. So I've seen it. How can somebody get more information about Ohio Mutual Insurance?
Well, of course, the easiest way is to go to our website, which is omig.com, and there's plenty there. And of course, if you want to reach out to your local Ohio Mutual agent and talk about any of the products that we offer, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to be able to explain what's available.
I'm sure they will. Todd, thank you so much for coming in today.
Absolutely, Ray. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.